The November 17th work session of the Harnett County Board of Education is now in order. I'd like to begin with our invocation, and Mr. Godfrey, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Yes, sir. All bow and prayer with me, if you will. Our kind, gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for being here this morning, for getting us up, and for our safe passage here this morning, Lord. I pray that you'd be with us as we do business of Harnett County, Lord, that we would be fair and honest and do the best job that each and every one of us can do, dear Lord. We thank you for everybody that's present here today, Lord. We pray that we would do what we need to do, Father, in your name. We ask these things in Jesus' name and for his sake. Amen.
Amen. Ms. Gainey, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and you may be seated. Okay. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, the chairman votes aye.
Abate, aye.
Gainey, aye.
Godfrey, aye.
Hearing no nay votes, the motion passes and the agenda is accepted as presented. We're going to begin this morning with a couple of special presentations, and our first presentation will be regarding gang resistance and our education program, and that will be with Detective Ronald Beasley with our Harnett County Sheriff's Department. So Detective Beasley, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, Board. Thank y'all for your time. As Chairman Powell said, I'm Detective Beasley with the Harnett County Sheriff's Office. Let's just go ahead and get into this presentation. It's Harnett County Schools, Gangs, and Prevention. So what brought this on was, oh, she told me, I done forgot. So, as I said, I'm Detective Beasley with the Harnett County Sheriff's Office, 25-year law enforcement career. I've run the gamut at the Sheriff's Office from bailiff to patrol to warrant squad, school resource officer at Harnett Central Middle School, Triton High School. I did a little bit of time at Western Harnett Middle. And right now I'm currently in criminal investigations. My main duty at the Sheriff's Office is gangs and gang investigations, gang intelligence. I've studied and worked gangs for approximately 15 years. I'm also a region coordinator for the North Carolina Gang Investigators Association, which covers, in Region 5, covers 11 counties in the state. And what we do with that is we gather intelligence and we help officers and agencies out with training and intelligence and assist them in their gang problems in their area. So on August 19th of this year, Governor Stein signed Executive Order 21, establishing the Gang Prevention and Intervention Task Force with the Governor's Crime Commission. This was at the gang conference in Winston-Salem that we held. It's a 3-day conference. And the reason, and I have why up there, but before we get into why, so how many know what a gang is? What is the definition of a gang? What North Carolina General Statute says a gang is? So 1450.16a says that a gang is an ongoing organization, association, or group of 3 or more persons, whether formal or informal, that has its primary activities, the commission of criminal activity or delinquent acts, and shares a common name, identification, signs, symbols, tattoos, graffiti, attire, or other distinguishing characteristics, including common activities, customs, or behaviors. But it will not include 3 or more persons associated, in fact, whether formal or informal, who are not engaged in criminal activities. The best example I give is Girl Scouts. They fit the definition of this they fit the definition of what this general statute is, but they're not involved in gang activities. Although sometimes when you come out of Walmart, you feel like like, hey. So, and Merriam-Webster says a group of persons working to unlawful or antisocial needs, or groups of persons working together. So, let me skip back. This is the why. Currently, approximately, according to the Gang Prevention Legislative Report, which came out in March of 2025, approximately 1% of offenses reported in North Carolina each year related to gang activity. In recent years, juvenile gang activity has overtaken adult crime activity. As you can see in the data from 2020 to 2024, we've had a 47.9% increase in juvenile crime. So NIBR shows, which is the National Incident-Based Reporting System, shows that in recent years, reported crime with suspected juvenile gang involvement has increased from 397 offenses in 2020 to 587 offenses in 2024. This is an increase, like I said, of 47.9%. Why is also the Juvenile Justice Reinvestment Act, AKA raise the age. So effective December 1st of 2019, for the offenses on or after this date, if the offender is under the age of 18 on the date of offense, the case must be initiated in juvenile court. Exceptions exist for emancipated minors, 16, 17-year-olds, charged with Chapter 20 offenses. Chapter 20 is your traffic laws. Juveniles with prior criminal convictions in district or superior court. And then last year, they raised the age to 16 and 17, where if they are charged with an A through E felonies, then begin their court cases in adult court. So what did this do? Gangs started using 16 and 17-year-olds to commit more violent crimes. We knew that. Law enforcement knew that. So they knew that they would not get the harsh punishments. But with the NCGI, we realize, and our motto is you're not going to arrest your way out of a gang problem. You're not going to do it. You need more than that. You need prevention, you need intervention, you need social safety nets and things like that. So on October 14th of this year, the Gang Prevention Intervention Task Force come out, and they had 3 criteria: prevention, intervention, and intelligence sharing. So as a gang investigator, as an SRO who taught gang resistance education and training in our middle schools, I took that, what the state come out with at this task force, and they were creating subcommittees, and I thought, well, how can we use this in Harnett County? So at this meeting on October 14th, you had heads from every agency. DPI was there, SBI was there, the Governor's Crime Commission was there, so social services were there. So they were trying to see, how can we get in front of this? How can we get these numbers lower? What are the most effective school-based strategies to prevent gang recruitment? How can we identify and support youth at risk of gang involvement as early as elementary school? What role can mentorship, arts, sports, and creative outlets play in prevention? How can we educate parents, educators, and youth about gang recruitment tactics? What culturally competent and trauma-informed approaches are needed in schools and communities? And how can we ensure equitable access to prevention programs in rural and underserved areas? These were the questions that this task force asked. And they gave that to us, and they said, listen, we're going to put you in 3 subcommittees, and we want answers to these questions. I didn't do intervention or intel sharing because I feel like prevention, and as having worked as a school resource officer and seeing the benefits of having the interaction with students, talking with students, getting to learn who they are, getting to know what their needs are, I believe prevention was where I was best suited for. So I took these questions and I thought, well, what can the sheriff's office do? What can Harnett County Schools do? And so I met with Vice Chairman Abate and met with Assistant Superintendent Pearson, and we just, I told them what, I think would be beneficial, because I see this coming down from the state. The next meeting is in January. They're breaking up the subcommittees. So I believe that, through the sheriff's office and Harnett County Schools, that we might be able to get ahead of this. And let's, get some programs, get some things going on and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. But what are the most effective school-based strategies to prevent gang recruitment? According to the legislative report that I mentioned a while ago, it says to expand EKG2. EKG2 is educating kids on guns and gang violence. It's kind of like your GREAT, but GREAT was a 6 to 7 week program that you went into the classroom and you did a curriculum with the students. EKG2 is shorter. It's 2. You have 2 sessions. They usually start in 7th and 9th grade. But what it does is it teaches students about the legal, medical, and emotional consequences of youth gun possession, substance abuse, and related gun violence. Students attend a 2-day interactive classroom presentation by a uniformed law enforcement officer. So I know in 2020, when COVID hit, you know, grades stopped, and we took the SROs out of the, you know, they didn't do grade anymore, and they were out of the classroom. And I saw that as a detective and working as a school resource officer. That hurt law enforcement community and the public, because I, as a school resource officer, I was able to make those connections. To build those relationships, and I saw the benefits of that. You know how many times I would go to a house that we were, you know, just so happened to be searching or going and do a knock and talk, and the student was like, "Hey, Officer Beasley, how you doing? Hey, man, how you doing? Oh, you know, everything's going great. What's going on?" So you built that relationship they could trust. And I feel like getting the SROs back into the classroom, getting them to be more involved with the students, you can bridge that gap, you can build those relationships, and you can kind of, you know, tear down this wall of, you know, not trusting or not thinking that law enforcement's there to help. So there's currently a seventh grade and ninth grade curriculum. We will focus on a seventh grade program doing PE. So you're not taking away from, you know, your English or your math or anything like that. There is an after-school program, and it's coming soon. Michelle Garino, who is part of Gang Free NC and up there at the Governor's Crime Commission, she is the one that does the EKG2 program. I've spoke with her, spoke with the sheriff. Oh, and he knows I'm here, by the way, just to let y'all know. I'm not here doing this on my own. I spoke with the sheriff, and Ms. Garino said that we're possibly looking at Harnett County to do the pilot program for an after-school program here with EKG2. So we got to get the SRO back in the classroom and build those relationships. But here's a short video of what the kids would see. And when they go through EKG2, there's an anonymous survey that they take, and it just, you know, they can go in and they can say, hey, you know, I've been a part of this, or I've seen this, or, you know, gives the SRO kind of a feel, and the guidance counselors, you know, what is going on in their school. Do I play this? Or? That's it. So how can we identify and support youth at risk from gang involvement as early as elementary school? And how can we educate parents, educators, and youth about gang recruitment tactics? So expand gang information and identification training beyond law enforcement. Those in contact with youth benefit from recognizing the ever-changing signs of gang involvement, gang activities, schools, teachers, assistants, bus drivers, school resource officers, of course, law enforcement leadership, community, healthcare workers, and community intervention and prevention programs. They all benefit from understanding more about gangs. One thing I can say about Harnett County is tomorrow I have a presentation that I have to give to some guidance counselors with Harnett County Schools. They've reached out to me. I've done that program and that presentation in the past year or two. I've had several principals at high schools want to have me come out to give presentations to their faculty, to their staff, to the guidance counselors. And not to show our age, but one of my first presentations was in 2006 when Mr. Matthews was principal at Triton High School. So that's how long I've been doing that. And that's how long we've been dealing with gangs. And that's how long we've had this problem. The public version of law enforcement gang training could be a redacted version of law enforcement training that exists now. We have in past, as I said, requests of school administrators and guidance counselors. And it's amazing to me that when you go into these schools and you give these presentations to these teachers and to these guidance counselors, and they say, I know that. I hear that every day. That's what that means. Absolutely, that's what that means. What role can mentorship, arts, sports, and creative outlets play in prevention? Invest and expand programs such as the Police Athletic League. done with their PAL and Mark Hornsby with the Harnett County Sheriff's Office PAL program, they are doing a great job. They involve either in sports, after-school tutoring, career readiness, leadership. The Sheriff's Office PAL has the Maker Space program where young citizens, they learn and design 3D printers, laser engrave, and other activities. So we got to encourage teachers, law enforcement, civilian leadership to mentor and engage youth in the community. Perfect example was Sergeant Holbrook at Triton High School, who coaches basketball. He took that initiative, went in, and got in there and starts mentoring these young men during on the basketball team. I believe it's JV. So I'm not going to read all of that. That's just kind of what culturally competent and trauma-informed approaches are needed in schools and communities. That question is for someone a lot smarter than me that has went through, training on trauma and psychology. But I will say that at youth experience negative and even more violence both at home and amongst peers. Training or de-escalation, violence reduction skills, mediating conflict, alternative resolution techniques should be taught to youth, SROs, school counselors, school teachers, assistants, bus drivers. Everyone has to have a hand in this problem. Like I said, you're not going to arrest your way out of a gang problem. It takes everyone. One thing as a gang investigator and with the NCGA, we know you've got to have teachers, you've got to have parents, you've got to have community, that it takes a village to raise a child, and it does. I'll get this clip. That's my information. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you letting me speak. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay. Are there questions for Detective Beasley?
I just want to say I appreciate you coming and doing the presentation. You're very, very welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Well, it's getting to the point that we've got to do something. As you saw, 47.9% in juvenile. Nate Snyder, who is a detective with Sanford PD, is also my counterpart with the NCGIA. He's had juveniles as young as 11 and 12 years old attempting to break into a gun store at the request of gang members, to get into the gang, to prove themselves. So this is 11 and 12-year-olds, not just 16 and 17-year-olds. So we have to get out there. We have to at least kind of get in front of this problem and say, hey, is it home? Is it what's going on? Look, is there any other programs? Can we expand, PAL? Can we do something on the most western side of the county? I'm not looking to y'all to solve that, but I'm just saying, everyone, law enforcement, schools, the county commissioners, we all have to have a hand in this. And like I said, I believe with what's going to be coming out from the state next year, I'd like to see us get ahead of it. And, and the state to be like, look, Harnett County is doing a great job. I think we should look at what they're doing. And especially if we can get this after-school program going with Ms. Garino. And if you have any further questions about EKG2, she said she would be happy to come down and speak with y'all. She just could not make it today.
Detective Beasley, if we were to be approved for the pilot program and if the board were to approve this, about how soon could this program be implemented?
The EKG2 in-school program we could do it. All it would take was getting our school resource officers through the program. Is what they call training the trainer. I would go through that and fill in the gaps of any middle schools that may not have an SRO or an SRO that can't teach it. Lindsay Champion, who is an investigator with the Sheriff's Office, she also investigates gangs with me. She would also go through that. The after-school program, that would be a question that Ms. Garino would have to answer, because that's, after school, that's something that they're looking at doing. They're putting that curriculum together. Only thing I can speak to is what we could do in the school, now. And that's something, like I said, that's something she would have to answer as far as after school.
Okay. Thank you.
You say, I think it's kind of interesting when you said you can't arrest yourself out of these, broad situations.
Yes, sir.
I partially agree with that, and I partially disagree with it. What if we had a law that stated like, if a 15 or 16-year-old was in a gang and committed a violent crime, he knew he was looking at 10 years active prison time right off the bat. You think that would change things any, as far as?
There's already gang enhancements. There's that gang law I read, they have gang enhancements for crimes that are committed. And no, what I believe is one, how you help hurt a gang problem is, one, you get those older ones out of the system, out of the community that are recruiting these young men and women. You get them out. But then you have in place where you can show these young men and women, this is not a good life. One thing I can say that being a gang investigator and things that I've done that I say bothers me the most is when I validate someone, I feel like I am, and I'm not afraid to say this, I am the kiss of death. Because I have seen in the last 5 to 10 years, when I validate someone, they either wind up dead or they wind up in prison. And I don't like that. I don't. That's what bothers me most out of all this job that I do, is because you have young people out here that don't see the value in life. They run around with guns. The thing that we have seen and people say, what's the evolution of gangs? They become more violent than they have ever been. All these older gang members that I've spoken with, they will tell you they don't mess with these young gang members because they would more shoot you than look at you. And so that's a problem. That's a in here problem. And so we've got to get ahead of that. And if we can't, at least we can try.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Are there
ma'am,
other
you had a
questions?
question.
No.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, though. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you, Detective Beasley. We greatly appreciate you coming before us this morning and presenting this program. Thank you
y'all.
very much.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, we have our second special presentation will be our K-5 District Curriculum and Instruction Team, and that is Ms. Leslie Tyson.
Good morning, Chairman Powell and members of the board. Thank you for having us this morning. I know that my team, they are ready to present, a little nervous, but they've done so much great work. I definitely want them to highlight themselves, but we can't cover it all. So if you have any questions about anything that they touch on today, please feel free to reach directly out to us and we'll answer any of those questions. I'm going to quickly introduce them and then they're going to get started. So for our team, for math, we have Dr. Anna Coates and, yeah, there you go, and Rebecca Privet. For ELA and content, we have Amber Anderson and Caroline Wilson. And then we have 3 district leads, Amy Mattingly, Dr. Amy Mattingly with K-5 MTSS, Dusty Bingham for K-2, and Tanya Davenport for 3-5. So I'm going to turn this over to you guys, and this is the one. Who's first? Rebecca.
Good morning. So one way that we provide support for our district is to conduct classroom walkthroughs. And these are just a quick snapshot of what teaching and learning is happening in the classrooms each day. While we're there, we provide feedback to the teachers. The administration and site-based coaches also get this feedback. And we use that feedback to look for trends or identify other areas of support that we can give. And some of that is through coaching conversations and developing resources. So this kind of just gives a quick visual of, as a team, we have so far visited all 16 elementary schools. Approximately 485 classrooms have been visited, which is just under 10,000 students this year so far. And we'll continue doing this each week, month, throughout the school year. Okay. You want me to click? Sure. So our team develops district assessments in reading, math, and fifth grade science that are aligned to the North Carolina standards and the curriculums that we use. And we analyze the data from these unit assessments along with our universal screening data in reading and math, the classroom walkthrough trends, and teacher survey results to inform district-wide instructional decisions. All of this information drives the work that we do, and it guides our planning and our implementation of targeted professional development and tailored support for schools, grade levels, and individual teachers. We wanted to share with you some of the core supports that we provide, and Anna, if you want to join too, just in case you wanted to say anything about the math. We have pacing guides that we've created, very detailed, that teachers have access to with live links. These pacing guides, they are quarterly mapped out, and as well as they go into weeks, very detailed for teachers. The resources are also linked on here. So we have DPI resources that are linked, as well as district resources that we have created are linked on here, and we're going to talk about a couple of those as well. We have on here the preview videos that are linked. Our team has created preview videos for the Benchmark Advanced program that we have for our ELA, as well as our Eureka Math previews. And these are just videos that teachers can watch at their own leisure or that coaches can do in PLCs. And these videos go into instructional strategies that teachers can use. It breaks down standards so that the teachers understand their standards and what they should look like in the classrooms. And just some little, I don't know, little supports that maybe we could offer them that they would not be able to get unless they had access to these videos.
Part of it is we're asking teachers to teach differently than we learned in our classrooms, right? So like school today looks very different than it did when I was in school. And so part of it is, as we're asking them to do these changes, we try to model some of those strategies and model some of the things that we're asking them to do in the videos as well, but also within like 20 to 30 minutes so that it's not taking a whole lot of time.
Right, and then they have the opportunity to earn CEUs by looking at these videos as well. So it's just building their instructional knowledge. And we also have on the pacing guide some lit bits. And the lit bits are just quick little 5 to 10 minute videos that we have recorded based on things that we notice when we're doing walkthroughs through classrooms. So, for example, if we are seeing that there's a lack of student engagement, we have a lit bit that addresses that so that teachers, if they see that there's a need for something that they're lacking, they can go and look at these lit bits and get some ideas. We also have on here links to our Eureka module packets and Benchmark Advanced bundles that we have created. And with the Benchmark bundles, they are independent tasks that students can work on after instruction has been given. And so these bundles, we want to make sure that they are standard driven, and so teachers are not having to go on Teacher Pay Teacher or create their own that are not necessarily hitting the standard that needs to be addressed for that grade level. So we've created these bundles to help with that, so that we know that students are getting independent activities that are definitely relevant to their learning.
In terms of the math side of it, one of the pieces of feedback that we kept hearing from teachers was that our resource wasn't aligning to our standards very well. So one of the things that we did in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, that's where it fell. K2, it was amazing. In 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, it hit our standards, but there are some limitations in North Carolina standards that it didn't address. And so we went through and we adjusted all of the questions and made the student pages to go along with each of those standards. And so that it does align to our standards significantly better. And with both the packets and the bundles, then the complaint would be, well, then I'd have to use all of my copies at the copy machine. And there's a lot of time involved in being at the copy machine. So we have been able to make all of those copies and send them in stapled and hole punched bundles so that the teachers don't have to worry about that on their own time or with their resources. That's it.
So another core support that we provide is professional development. At the beginning of the year, the math coach has facilitated a 3-day professional development session for math teachers to support them in their understanding of the vertical nature of our standards. More recently, they held a Saturday PD supporting teachers in effectively using models to support student understanding. As far as ELA, we are in the process of currently planning a series of micro PDs beginning in January. And our planning is directly driven by what we are seeing and hearing in classrooms and the feedback that we are getting on the surveys that we send out. As needs arise, we also create, as they talked about, short targeted videos to provide additional support and clarification around specific standards and skills that we see may need some additional clarification. As mentioned previously, we make a point to visit classrooms frequently and conduct regular walkthroughs. During these visits, we provide teachers with meaningful feedback, beginning with celebrations and the good things that we're seeing, and then followed by growth-producing feedback to support continued improvement. And then last, we are working on supporting teachers with differentiating instruction with the goal of having the majority of students' needs met with high-quality core instruction.
So along with having the high-quality instructional materials for core instruction, we also want to make sure that for students who need the core plus more, some interventions to support their needs, that we also have high-quality materials for that. So this year, we have ensured that the intervention materials for reading are not only aligned to our core resources, but also the science of reading that we know is very important, that we're using research and evidence-based practices for reading. And this year as well, we have to submit a literacy intervention plan each year to DPI for approval, and it was approved with no recommendations for improvements this year. So we're very proud of that. Along with math, we have used iReady in the past, and generally it has been used for all students. But this year we're really making sure that iReady is being used strategically, and so the students who, all students are getting that high quality core instruction from their teacher, and then the iReady program, which is online and it's a personalized pathway, it is used for the students who need interventions to address student knowledge gaps. So they can get that personalized pathway in math to fill the gaps so that then they can understand the material that their teacher is using in core instruction. Because our goal, again, is that all students are being successful with that core instruction, those grade level standards. And we're also making sure to encourage small group teaching in math, just like we have in reading in the past, and offering that professional development and that guidance for teachers. We know that there are other factors for students to be successful in academics, which includes behavior and attendance. And so we also this year have made sure that there are core and tiered intervention plans for behavior. And we have collaborated with the Student Support Services team to make sure that the instructional coaches who are leading some of our multi-tiered systems of support problem solving, that they understand the data that the school counselors have and the other initiatives that can support students with their attendance and behavior, like our Hazel Health Initiative. So just trying to make sure that all of that is aligned so that students are getting what they need and that we have the data to make the best decisions for each individual student. In addition, we know that when we're providing great quality core instruction, but also interventions, that we need to progress monitor to make sure that students are making growth. And if they're not, that teachers can adjust their instruction or their intervention. And so our state is really focusing this year on M-class assessments and making sure that we are progress monitoring with the recommendations from the state. And so our team is also really making sure that we're focusing on the fidelity of implementation with progress monitoring, and we've really seen great growth this year. And I checked our fidelity report before coming today, And for our students that are the well below grade level standards, 90% of those have been progress monitored as of today. So we are on track to make sure that we're really checking in with all of our students that we know are at risk to not meet grade level standards, so that we can do something about it before those gaps widen, and that we can just change our instruction to make sure that we're doing what's best for kids.
Good morning. We also collaborate to provide leadership aligned with district priorities, as you can see the different areas featured on the slide. For example, we hold monthly PLCs for school-based instructional coaches focused on strengthening instructional practices. A key focus of these sessions is using data to inform instruction and guide school-wide improvement. So on behalf of the K-5 C&I team, I want to thank you for inviting us to share with you today.
I'm very proud of our team and the work that they're doing. We give a one-stop shop to teachers, so they can go to the pacing guide, they get PD, they get the resources, they get the standards broken down, they get everything they need. So teachers don't need to spend their time, hours searching for things or paying for things. We've already done that for them. So I'm extremely proud of their work, and if you have any questions, I'll take them now. And then, like I said, if there's anything you want to know more about, please feel free to reach out anytime.
Are there questions or comments?
I'd just like to say I appreciate each and every one of you's work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's showing.
Thank you. They're great.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, before we move into discussion items, the chair would like to take a moment of personal privilege and recognize our guests this morning, and we're happy to have Dr. John Matthews of Central Carolina Community College with us. Dr. Matthews is actually a graduate of Harnett Central High School close by, and Dr. Matthews, we greatly appreciate your hard work for the community college and for your collaboration and cooperation with our Harnett County schools. Thank you. Okay, moving along now to our discussion items. We have a funding request for the Highland High School. Mr. Matthews.
Chairman Powell, members of the board, just wanted to give you a little update and let you know kind of a little bit about the discussions for the funding of Highland High School going forward. Mr. Pearson and I met with our architect Friday, I believe, mainly to talk about all of the building projects that we have going on currently and that are planned in the near future. And one of the things that County Manager Mr. Brent Trout had asked me to do was to have you to send a funding request for Highland High School to him by the end of March of 26, so they could get that process started as far as securing funds for that project. So I asked our architect if he would put that together for us, timeline with estimated cost, so that I'll probably want to bring that back to you after the first of the year, so that we can get your approval to carry that to the county commissioners to get their approval on the process. It'll also give a tentative timeline of what we're looking at as far as the process goes. So I just wanted to give you that update this morning and entertain any questions that you might have regarding that.
Okay. There are questions for Mr. Matthews? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Matthews. We appreciate your attention toward this much-needed high school and the funding for it, so thank you. Next, we have our action items, and we're going to return to Mr. Matthews. Review and consider approval of the superintendent's attendance at the District Administration 2025 Superintendent Summit.
Thank you, Chairman Powell. I just bring this to you to request your approval to be allowed to attend the District Administration Leadership Institute Superintendent Summit in December. It is out of state this year. It was in Asheville last year. did attend. I thought it was a very beneficial time spent, even though it was over my spring break last year, but it was very beneficial. This time it is out of state. It's in Florida. That's the nearest one. They usually have 4 of these across the nation. But anyway, since it is out of state, I would need your approval to be able to attend. So that is my request this morning.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the superintendent's attendance at this, VA Superintendent's Summit as approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Chairman votes aye.
Abate, aye.
Gainey, aye.
Godfrey, aye.
Hearing no nay votes, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Well, at our last meeting, it seemed that Mr. Cox had most of the action items. Well, today, we're going to shift the focus to Mr. Pearson. So we'll be going to you pretty much for the rest of the action item period. So we'll begin with review and consider approval of master craft renovation systems for the removal and replacement of the broken telescoping bleachers in the gymnasium at Harnett Central Middle School.
Thank you, Chairman Powell, members of the board. To put a bow on all of these next several agenda items, I do want to say thank you to our county managers and county finance folks. All of these items are coming from the fact that we were able to come under budget on some large projects. And so there was some bond money and interest from bonds and such things that needed to go into school construction-based items. And we needed to have projects that we could get turned by the end of this school year. And so these are all items that are several that are greatly needed, and then others that are enhancements to our schools that I will say very few counties across the state could take these actions together. So we appreciate the fiscal management and the partnership that we have. This first one is for the bleachers at Harnett Central Middle School. Much needed replacement there. Lots of work has gone into those, and would say that they are definitely a safety issue when they're extended because of their lifespan is well past.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there additional discussion? Hearing none, the chairman votes aye.
Abate, aye.
Gainey, aye.
Godfrey, aye.
Hearing no nay votes, the motion is approved. Okay, we'll go back to Mr. Pearson for basically the same thing, except this time for replacing the broken bleachers at Western Harnett Middle School.
Thank you, Chairman Powell. Again, Harnett Central Middle, Western Harnett being of similar age and exact same structure, these same bleachers are past their lifespan.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve master craft for this renovation, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, the chairman votes aye.
Abate, aye.
Gainey, aye.
Godfrey, aye.
Hearing no nay votes, the motion is approved. And next, we'll have back to Mr. Pearson for review and consider approval of Cardinal Courts and Tracks Incorporated for the track resurfacing project at Triton High School.
You all are aware, 10, almost 14 years ago now, I think we started rubberizing tracks at several sites. These 3 next items are for Triton, Harnett Central, and Western. Those tracks have been a 10-plus years of that rubber surface, and so it is time to resurface and restripe them. And so these next several items are related to that. Again, this is also coming out of some leftover construction money, not coming out of any of our, continuing accessible funds here.
Other questions for Mr. Pearson?
I do have a question. Is this part of, I know at one time we were talking about, like, kind of making a schedule for updating tracks as we go along. Is this part of that, or
Yeah.
are we going ahead and doing it while we have the funding available?
A little of both. We are at the age where they're needing it. I think the 15-year mark is the suggestion, and we're at like 13, 14. So it is going ahead and getting ahead of it now to put us in good shape for the next 15 years. So.
And I have one other question. I think this goes to the attorney. Can we, for voting purposes, combine 4, 5, and 6 together under one vote since they're all for track replacement?
You can make that motion as long as no one wants to break that out for discussion. Then if
if the motion is to combine them, you can do that.
So, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve action item 4, 5, and 6, which are track replacements at Triton, Western Harnett, and Harnett Central, as they are all track replacements with the same company.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there additional discussion? I would just like to say, seems like it was within the past year, perhaps, that we resurfaced the Overhills
That's correct.
track. And I have noticed since, and as Vice Chair Bate mentioned earlier about how we were on a rotating schedule, is my understanding. But I also noticed that I attended several athletic events at each of these schools this past fall. And I did notice these tracks were in pretty bad shape, it looked to me like. And so I think this is a welcome improvement while we have the funds available to do so. Let's take care of it one time. Chairman votes aye.
Abate, aye.
Gainey, aye.
Godfrey, aye.
Hearing no nay votes, the motion is approved. Thank you, Mr. Pearson. And now we'll move along for a slightly different direction with Mr. Pearson. Review and consider approval of agreement for the design consultant agreement for the freezer cooler project.
Thank you, Chairman Powell. The freezer cooler project, which we have all talked about for a long time, is moving forward. This is for actual architectural services, design of the building. So we've done site surveying, we've had the land, board and to make sure it can support the building. And then this is the agreement for the actual design services. SFL&A was selected. We did do an RFQ for these, and they came out on top of this project.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the agreement for design consultant agreement for the freezer cooler project as presented by Mr. Pearson.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, chairman votes aye.
Abate, aye.
Gainey, aye.
Godfrey, aye.
Hearing no nay votes, the motion is approved. And back to Mr. Pearson for review and consider approval of Musco Sports Lighting LLC for the LED sports field lighting upgrade projects at all Harnett County Schools, high schools.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. You all may remember we did the lighting at Harnett Central High School and Triton softball based on some needs that came up. Based on this funding that was available, as well as the time that the county really needed us to encumber these funds, we felt like this was a good project because this will take and outlast all of us here in this room. This is a 30-year project that will put all of our athletic facilities in a great spot. This does include any wooden poles that we still have at fields, taking those down and putting up metal poles for, again, a permanent structure. We did rebid this, and we're pleased to say that Musco came back significantly lower, over $1 million lower than in previous times. And so we feel like that we're in a good spot to be able to do, this would take care of all of our football, baseball, soccer, and softball facilities across the whole district.
Are there further questions for Mr. Pearson or further discussion? I'd just like to say I think this would be a significant investment, good investment for, I've heard several good things about the lighting already over at Harnett Central just recently, and I'd like to see this carried out for our student experience, not only for our athletics, but also for the game day experience for students and spectators alike.
Yep, I agree. I think it will definitely put us above many others in a facilities perspective.
Yeah, those lights make a big difference, big difference.
And cost savings.
Definitely over time, you're right. Chairman votes aye.
We haven't got a motion yet.
The chairman will retract that vote, and the chairman will ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve Musco Sports Lighting LLC for all these projects at Harnett County Schools.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Chairman votes aye.
Abate, aye.
Gainey, aye.
Godfrey, aye.
Hearing no nay votes, the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Pearson.
Thank you for letting me fill up your agenda today.
Yes, sir, we appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143, 31811, A1, A3, and A6 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel files under GS 115C 321 to consider matters relating to initial employment of an individual employee and to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Chairman votes aye.
Abate, aye.
Gainey, aye.
Robert, aye.
Hearing no nay votes, the motion carries. We are now in closed session. After a motion and a second, we're now back in open session. And let's see. We need to review and consider approval of items discussed in closed session. Mr. Duke.
Thank you, Chairman Powell. Just wanted to announce that in closed session that the board voted and approved the settlement and release agreement between Duke Energy Progress LLC and Harnett County Board of Education concerning the Northwest Harnett Elementary School wet pond. And that agreement has been approved by the board.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Duke. Mr. Matthews, do you have anything else for us?
Just a reminder of the Thanksgiving luncheon you're invited to, and would certainly hope that you all will be able to drop by and enjoy a little bit of a pre-Thanksgiving meal or get a to-go box, whichever. So, thank you.
Okay, is there anything else from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
We're now adjourned. Thank you.